Hey guys, what's up? I hope you're having a happy Thursday today. We are in very mental gates. But surprisingly, I've heard of a little bit of confusion and doubt today, but surprisingly, it's been kind of a quiet day. And the earth is in detriment. So we're gonna talk about that. Like maybe people are really like in their shells and examining themselves today when they don't really need to be doing that. Today's a trial and error day, and that means maybe bumping into things, people, maybe pivoting in your experience, maybe experiencing a failure, having to turn around in a new direction or pick up a different tool to continue in that same direction. And all of that can be okay. One of the main things that I do is I help humans not blame themselves for the things that happen, while at the same time being accountable for their words and actions, which can be kind of like a balance. And so let's talk about these gates. Gate 64, gate of confusion. The line today is called overextension. And this is about reflecting on the past. But remember, with both of these themes, it's collective. Okay, it's collective. And that's what I want to think about the whole time. It's not personal. Confusion isn't made to be turned onto you, onto your life, to figure out your personal answers, right? It's so that we can examine things and make sense of things and understand, relate and understand, learn through experience type of things. And so let's talk about this overextension. The wisdom to recognize when you don't have the necessary resources to complete transition. And so what does that mean? Maybe you don't have the right material resources, but really it could simply be that you can't make sense of things well enough to keep moving forward. And the magic that happens here, because it's collective, you can surrender. Like confusion resolves itself, and it's no one's personal responsibility to do anything about the energy of confusion. And so if you just surrender and you're like, I'm allowed to be confused, life will solve it, people will solve it, something will solve it for me. Let it go, and you might see that the help comes today. You might get your answer or make sense of something in a surprising or spontaneous way. And the cool thing is that we can literally count on this to be a collective experience. Someone will bring us the sense that we need. It will happen in some way. And so what that means is that we can just live while we're confused. And in its right time, the realization will come. And you can be like, oh my gosh, thank God I didn't spend 5 years of my life trying to figure that out. It's like, it's totally okay. You can just keep moving until, there's the light bulb for me. And so no one's responsibility. Remember this as we talk about the detriment, because I think this can be a heavy detriment. Like, I think that the abstract experience and the way we make sense and the way that we do relationships, some of these themes can be really hard because they can happen when we refuse to understand. And when we're refusing to understand, to make sense of things, like we can really meet life, because the price of refusing to understand is the fates. And so this detriment, it says, the risk of a superficially confident personality that when transition collapses, there is no one to turn to. Overconfidence that the fates will be kind on demand. And that is the price of refusing to understand. Maybe you've committed to strategies that don't work and you have to stop doing those. Maybe you're feeling like you're out of touch with the times and you need to learn something new or do something different. Maybe you're seeing that you're surrounded by the wrong people, like practicing the wrong behavior, and all of these things are affecting your experience and what you're trying to do now. And so, welcome to God, because I promise life will destroy you and absolutely everything you think if you avoid reality. It will destroy you. Like your experiences will get louder and louder until you are able to let go of some belief or some way of seeing or something, make sense of it in a new way, and establish your order to continue moving through. And so the lower side of this energy is irritation. And if you're experiencing it, you can just let it go. Tell yourself, life will solve this for us, and we are not going to concern ourselves with spiraling into this mental anxiety, this irritation. And so next, this energy, which is abstract, wavy, experiential, learning over time, that energy is grounded in two logical energies, gate 63, and then the moon is in gate 48 today. And so this gate 63 is the gate of doubt, and it's actually totally in the detriment. We don't get an exaltation. And I want you guys to know the detriments aren't bad, right? It's like if we can live out the detriment and just let it be and let it happen, like it's totally fine. When we start coming up with ideas about exaltation and detriment, and I've got to be one and not the other, like I think that's when things can get a little funky. And so being in a detriment that day is totally fine. And this one says success at any price, the pressure to eliminate the doubt at any cost. It's called continuance. And so this is kind of a weird energy. It's really about asking questions and receiving logical answers. And receiving logical answers can be interesting because, especially in this detriment, maybe you don't even realize that you're running around asking everybody a question. Like maybe it's just like a subconscious motivation behind you. Maybe you're not satisfied with what people say. Maybe that's you not being satisfied with the answer they're giving you. A lot of times this weird energy, we're looking for our own answer. And we don't need to forcefully find it in the other or life out there. We don't need to become the guy with the pins on the bulletin board, connecting the dots, doing this intense investigative searching. Like we can treat this just like curiosity because it's also collective, and we can kind of let doubt resolve itself. Not being satisfied and looking for your own answers, I think that that's totally okay as long as you're not whittling into a hole. Like mental anxiety can be so loud and fast and even like physically debilitating. And so if you notice yourself like spiraling into yourself, the energy would be self-doubt. Self-doubt isn't real. Like the mind doesn't have the capacity to turn this energy on yourself. Like what you are is this unique thing. And we can't do it like that. We have to allow you to be who you are. And the doubt that you experience is for out there so that we can fix that pattern and do things better and have a better like collective experience as humanity. So much about logic is about the common good and doing what's right for humanity, the human rights type stuff. And so something that we can know is that these questions and answers aren't personal. Don't let it run you around. It's not even for you, right? Like if this energy is eating you alive, it's not even for you. It's for collective purposes. And so you can literally just sit it down, and you can know that we can always change our mind. Like we can always refresh the way that we're thinking because the world constantly changes. The world doesn't allow us to keep an answer forever, because the constant rate of change will show us, oh, that was the answer, but now we have built the microscope and we can see deeper. And now there's more to discover. It's like it's this continuing unfolding mystery. And we can know that everything's in its perfect order. We can let go of these beliefs. We can let life change the way we see things. And we can get curious because what we are is made to watch the matter, not know it. So much of why people hurt themselves is because they think it's so important to know things, and they prove their worth with what they know, and they're certain about what they know, and they're out there hurting themselves. And it's like, it's not even about that. What you are is here to watch matter unfold. It's not here to know matter. Like it's like some static thing that we can like mentally understand. We're here to just simply see it. And so we can get curious and we can let it be this unfolding thing that we don't have to label, hold that label forever, control everybody and how they say that label. Like it's like, oh my goodness, we don't have to do any of that. And so put your self-doubt down today. And as you move into higher frequencies, it's inquiry. I think so much of inquiring into things begins with some type of fundamental curiosity and like zest for life, for learning life, understanding life, and seeing it for what it is, seeing yourself for what you are. And so lastly, Moon is in gate 48. This is also logical collective. It's the gate of depth. And I'm not going to break down the line. This is the channel of skill. And funny, I look at the unconscious side of the chart and the other moon is in 16. So we've got the whole channel. If you look at both, just like me. This is all about logical correction, perfection, repetition. We're practicing our skills. We are practicing over and over every day. We're sharing our skills. It's like maybe we are a basketball player who goes to practice. We also go to the games. We have all these teams events. Like I get to gain depth in my skill. I get to get better every day over time. And then I get to share that skill with the world and with others and compete and do all these cool things. And so that is what we want talent to be, right? But it's like, because logic is so starved of energy, getting the skills can actually be a super frustrating thing, because the experience isn't happening for you to get the skills, to practice every day, to go to the competition. It's like, oh no, like, I guess you can't do basketball this year, Johnny. It's like, damn. And Johnny's like, but I'm so good. Like, I have the skill. Why can't I do it? And it's like, what we can know is that you will do it in the right time, and you do have skill. And it doesn't mean anything about you if your project is starting or stopping, or you can't get the words out, or you can't play the game tonight. It's like, this can be such a frustrating energy, and it can make us feel inadequate. So we can start being fearful. We can start not sharing our skills and creativity because we don't feel good enough. We don't feel like we have the depth or the experience that we should have. We're comparing ourselves to other people. And this is really interesting too. This is the black magic gate. So let's talk about black magic. To me, it is literally using knowledge as power. So it's like anybody who has become an expert in a system that you don't know anything about, maybe like an astrologer or like a human design person. They sit across from you and they tell you all about your chart, and you haven't learned anything about it. And there's no way to prove if that's right or wrong for you in that moment. Like, you just got a whole bunch of knowledge, and your only option is either to like believe it or not believe it. And it's like, in believing that, if she told you that in 3 days you're going to die, and if you couldn't help but to believe that, like, that can really control a person. It can start affecting their beliefs. It's like something as simple as telling someone that they're sick every day. You can really make them sick. It's like this using words and knowledge to think about the other, and to get them to believe what your mind thinks it knows about them, what your mind thinks it knows about you. It's like the mind is here to watch the matter. It's not here to know it. It doesn't have to know it. And so the novice, with human design, if you're finding your strategy and authority, your inner authority, you have a way out of the black magic, because you're not just limited to, I believe or don't believe you. You have your inner authority, and it can resonate, dissonate, give you a yes and no, give you clarity over time. And so human design, to me, you can use human design as like a black magic system, but truly it's here to help people find their body, to become embodied. And that's something that's really interesting here too, because anything that denies human rights needs to be corrected, right? Correction, perfection, repeating the pattern, changing the pattern. Anything that isn't good for humans needs to be corrected. And the problem is that the depth necessary, like to know what's good for humans, is inside the body. And most humans aren't embodied. So they don't carry with them this depth of common good and human rights where they can act in the correct way in the moment, because they're not in their own depth. And so it's like, that's why we can get in these situations where the common good is just totally not seen at all or recognized by anybody, because if we aren't in here, we don't really have access to it. And so black magic only works when you are your mind, when you are controlled by your mind, when your mind thinks, I need to go eat an apple now. And when your body automatically gets up and does that. It's like, your body doesn't need to be moved by your mind or anybody else's. And if you are being conditioned by somebody with like words and knowledge, it can be very easy, if you are your mind, to take that in and let that take over your life for a little while. And so what you can know is that your body is the only knowledge that knows for you, right? Like, everything about your life is inside of yourself. It holds all of your right patterns. It's always on time. And it is your depth and your protection in this life. It's like, if you can come into your temple, if you can be at home in body and life, you can move from inadequacy to resourcefulness. You can feel comfortable enough to live and share yourself and be transparent and vulnerable and have the depth and ability to do the skill today or not, because it really doesn't matter. It's like, oh, I can't do my skill today. I'll go find something else to do because I'm resourceful. And it's wonderful. And so if you are struggling with this today, know that it's deeply frustrating. You have the skills that you need. It will come in its right timing. And for now, you can just relax and do something that you want to do. So I hope you guys have a great day today. I'll be back on Sunday. Bye, guys.